Look in your eyes and I can see that love so dangerously. You're not trusting your heart to anyone. You tell me you're gonna play it smart. We're through before we start, but I believe that we've only just begun. When it's this good, there's no saying no. I want you so I'm ready to go. Through the fire, to the limit, to the wall. For just to be with you, I gladly risk it all. Through the fire, through whatever comes my way. For a chance of loving you, I take it all away. Right down to the wire, even through the fire. I know you're afraid of what you feel. You still need time to heal. And I can help if you'll only let me try. You touch me in something that you know. I can have the you. Now I'm not ready to kiss that dream goodbye. When it's this sweet, there's no saying no. I need you so I'm ready to go. Through the fire, to the limit, to the wall. For just to be with you, I gladly risk it all. Through the fire, through whatever comes what may. For a chance at loving you, I take it all away. Right down to the wire, even through the fire.
Through the fire. What's good, family? Welcome to Aboriginal Global Media. I'm your host, the one and only Ghetto Scholar. And we are here tonight to have this conversation that is most important. the issue of sex, a crisis in modern relationships and birthing children, the solution. Heavy conversation tonight, light conversation tonight for some, depending on who you are. Welcome to our channel. Hit the like button. Share this stream. This is also an opportunity for you to get acclimated to all of the wonderful things that we're doing in the tribe and any of the other educational things we have going on that will be good for you and your family. I do want to share the fact that we are also continuing our first educational experience for the year with our Indigenous Doctors course. That course is still available for anybody who is interested in the course. And I'll throw the link to the course in the chat. So anybody who missed the intro last week can go to the website, register. As soon as you register, all of your downloads come, your ebooks, your syllabus, everything that you would need in order to get started. And let me throw that in the chat. I'll throw it in the chat. We are streaming live on Instagram at godbody.og, on X, the same, godbodyog. Facebook blocked my stream. I think I'm on some type of punishment from Facebook. But it's all good, Facebook. I don't got no problems with you. I don't want no problems. We don't want no problems. We'll use your platform to continue to educate, despite the fact that maybe something I have said may have bothered some of you. All right, so we are live on Instagram as well. I just wanted to make sure I'll show that. I'll leave that link in the chat. Of course, you see the coursework is extensive. Physics, chemistry, and indigenous biology. We did an intro to that last week. We're going to go back into that this week. We also have Think Tank at 1 p.m. on Sunday. And I know we have our Rites of Passage meeting as well. If there's any updates to that where we do any rescheduling, we will let everybody know. All right. We're back. How's everybody doing tonight? I know it's a slow, wintry Friday. Hope y'all ain't at the club. I just saw a special. I think it was some type of special. It wasn't on PBS. It was on something else. Anyway, they were talking about how people do not go to clubs anymore. Let's give everybody a round of applause. For keeping your ass out of the club. You should be home with your family. That's the safe place to be in. It's all kind of things going on in these places. And you're dealing with post-COVID clubs. So be very cautious, because I posted the videos, and I won't say it on YouTube because YouTube is very highly censored. All right. But yeah, home with your family is the best place to be for all of us. So on this Good Friday, we're here to talk about the issue of sex, the crisis in relationships, and the birthing of children. So this conversation could get very controversial. I am not doing this to hurt anybody's feelings in particular. I don't even know you. I am just here teaching and advocating based on my experience as a husband, father of 6 children, and having raised children. My oldest child is 20 years old. My youngest child is about to turn 14. And so I have some experience. I have something to say about being aware of sex. Okay. I wrote this book right here. Let's share it. It's called The Power of Sex. And I don't know if I can share it. Let's see. I wrote this book so that I could share what I think is very important. Let's put the link in the chat too. You can see that, right? Yeah, y'all can see that. I think it's important to every human being on earth. Let me tell you why. The reason why is because we all have sex. Well, I can't say we all have sex, but some of us do. And there's one thing that comes with sex that is very important. It is called culture. Meaning, where did you learn about sex? Who taught you? Was it your mom and your dad? Did your mom and your dad take you through a course on sex? A course on anatomy and physiology, reproductive organs, how they are connected to your hormonal system, your mood, your neurotransmitters. Anybody teach you that? Why is that even important? Whenever you see human beings underperforming in any way in the world, know and understand they do not have a great awareness that is productive of sex. They don't. And so what we're looking at in the world is that the thing that we do the most, besides probably thinking, breathing, and eating and drinking, sex, we maybe have the least conversation in our families about it. Raise your hand if you took your child through some type of sex education. Put a 1 in the chat. If you put your children through a family-guided sexual education, cultural awareness. 1 in the chat. Be honest. Did you? All right. I see some 1s in the chat. I see 1 in one chat. All right. Well, here's the reality. And I want to lay this down very importantly. Culture teaches you how to have sex. So what culture do we have in America? Well, the predominant ones are what? Sex education in school. They teach you about use of condoms, disease, etc. That's usually the talk that we have. Then we get introduced to things in society like porn. And in the internet age, you have access to things. Of course, you have to say you're over 21 when you're doing these things, but they're accessing these things. It's everywhere. So most people are learning sex through experimentation, safe sex classes in school, porn, and whatever else they have going on. Now, in case you didn't know, everybody born is born via sex. Unless there's some type of secret government project that went on that produced you, and we don't know about it. But generally speaking, if you are here, then a man and a woman came together to produce you. That is what you call a law of nature. It requires a man and a woman. Now, in that process, there is biology shared. Sperm, ovum. Inside of the sperm and ovum, you have genes, you have epigenetic activity going on, and it produces a new being. And that being has the imprint of the father and the mother, all of their experiences, and if it makes it through the 9 months or 7 months, we get a new baby. And that's happening all over the planet. As a matter of fact, that's not always happening because maybe the woman is on Depo, some type of form of birth control. Maybe the man is on birth control. Maybe they're infertile, still having sex. And so what we want to do tonight is we want to have an open community conversation about sex. Most of us have participated in the act, and we want to cross-compare cultural sex, different types of cultures and how they view sex. Meaning, how did your particular ancestors at any interval of time view sex? What is the definition of sex? We're going to use the book to go through this information. Now, some caveats, because we're 19 minutes in, and I want to keep this very short and sweet. My thesis is because the world is so undereducated in sex, the problems that we're seeing in the world are directly connected to that lack of education, poor education. Sex has even become taboo, like it's some kind of a bad thing when everybody here came here by way of sex. And so whether your perception is from Adam and Eve, whether your perception is from fitness and evolution, whether your perception is from other religions, maybe you're Muslim, maybe you are a part of alphabet gangs, and what you define as sex might not be the same as what we see as sex. Regardless, we have to deal with it. Because guess what? Your sex is shaping your children. And who you are is shaped by your parents having sex. It does not completely define you, but it lays a major part, and you might be surprised by what I say when it comes to how much your parents' sexual interaction had to do with why you are the way you are right now. We also are dealing with a climate high in disease because of sexual culture. And we need to know, what is the origin of this? We even have things where people are practicing bestiality. Or we can have conversations about what's healthy or not. Is there even such a thing as anal? Like, is that sex? Is there a benefit to that? Is there a danger to it? What about oral? Is that even? Where do these things come from? All right, so let's talk. We're about to open up the book, and I am going to go in on this subject. Welcome to Sex Education 101. With the Ghetto Scholar. Let me open this book up, and we're going to jump right into it. Okay, y'all should be able to see this. Yes, you can. All right, so I wrote this book a few years ago, and now I didn't take oral from nobody. I did not take it. See how y'all just anticipating things? I know you joking. All right. I want you to look at the table of contents of this book, and I want you to get some understanding on where we're going. So, the most important undiscussed topic, sex. Defining sex. How ancient indigenous people viewed sex. The She, Olmecs and Mayans, and sex. The ancient Egyptians and sex. The art and science of cloistering. Ancient concepts of procreation, the first Immaculate Conception traditions. Ancient art of pleasure. Marriage in history. Plants and sexual arousal in ancient history. That deals with entheogens, by the way. Ancient origins of homosexuality. Heterosexuals versus homosexuals. The Medusa story and ancient concepts of rape. The origins of sodomy, bestiality, and STDs. How we all biologically developed from polygyny. That's huge. This one right here will surprise you. Now, this is not my theory, by the way. This is known in evolutionary biology, that without polygyny, you would not have the human diversity that you have, and quite possibly human beings could go extinct very easily and increase in diseases because of it not being present. I'm talking about thousands of scientific articles you can go and study this on right now. So that's huge. The development of modern sexual psychology and practices. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and the fear of genetic annihilation. The ritual castration and its psychosis. Sex and slavery and rape as a culture. How slavery impacted our sex genes. Porn and masturbation versus divine bonding. Eugenics and sex. Male reproductive organs and functions. Female reproductive organs and functions. Pheromones. Biochimerism. Some call it male microchimerism. Then you add in something called the sexome. That's different. The sexome deals with the fact that every man that you have sex with trades his seminal fluid microbiome, that is bacteria and all kinds of microorganisms, that stays in your body. It's in your cervix. It even gets all the way to your brain. Women I'm talking to. This is not microchimerism where you have to have a child, you have to conceive a child. This is anybody that ever released any seminal fluid anywhere in your body. That includes your mouth, your anus, your vagina, Yeah. Epigenetics in sex, nutrition and sex, the science of an orgasm, the 9 types of orgasm, anal anatomy and physiology versus vaginal anatomy and physiology, sexual preparation, the physical touch, sound and light, the art and science of foreplay, aromatic scents, the olfactory system and arousal, music and sex, breathing and orgasm potential, perineum exercises and sexual potency, male and female ejaculation, squirting, compatibility factors, the art and science of character and mate selection, onanism, the curse of pulling out, coitus interruptus. You might not think that that's a real thing. Unfortunately, in the world that we live in, right, the education is not high. I have experimented with this, so I know the reality of this. Onanism, we're going to talk about that. It's a real thing. And unfortunately, because women aren't aware of their cycles, their pheromones, this thing exists. It's huge. But we can only cover we can only address what we're mature enough to address. Inner locus and intralocus sexual conflict, the true extinction level event. I cannot stress that is a whole dissertation. And though we keep the same definition, inner locus and intralocus sexual conflict, the angle that we talk about what it means is completely different. Baby food and eugenics of interlocus sexual conflict. Android pelvis and inner locus sexual conflict. Android pelvis is when your pelvis turns into the pelvis of a man. There's all kinds of factors that go into developing that. Breastfeeding as remedy to intralocus sexual conflict. Mastering orgasms through art and science. The art of orgasm and sexual positions. Alchemical suggestions for sexual protection. Sexual chemistry revisited. And then we have our bibliography sources. So now I want to do something that's very simple. All right. Y'all need to understand. You know what? Let me take a little caveat. I'm an author of a lot of books, right? And here's a statistic that I could download from my my merchant server when I sell books. I sell more books outside of the United States of America than I sell inside of the United States of America. I noticed this in 2021. So what I started doing is I started doing documentaries. Did a documentary on Malcolm X, did a documentary on Dr. Sebi, did a documentary on the Nation of Islam, did a documentary on our indigenous heritage, did a documentary on, they lied about the slave trade. I did a documentary on evolutionary biology. I think that's all the ones I did, 5 or 6 of them. What I've learned is that people in the United States do not read as much as people outside of the United States of America. For whatever purpose. Now, my old YouTube channel, I had about 70,000 people on it. And what I realized is that people in the United States of America watch more videos. Then I started going by demographic. So I had a lot of people ages 25 to 35. Those are my main people that were watching me. But of course, they watch videos. But then when I look at who's reading, out of the people who are reading, the demographic is mid 40s and up. So I'm looking at all these habits and I'm thinking to myself, this data that I'm collecting about, how to market and do things better, it let me know why we're in trouble. Like serious trouble. Like this is the most important conversation that I can have. There isn't one. I'm doing a documentary on the white slave trade. I'm doing a documentary on the Civil War. I'm doing a documentary on Black scientists this year. And the reason why I'm doing more documentaries is just because I'm paying attention to the people. They like videos. And this is a cool form to learn. It's also very impatient. Look at who's doing it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I like the production. I like putting the productions together. It's fun. I'm learning stuff. But what I want to focus on is Americans read less. And most of the valuable information about sex is in books. Like old books. There aren't a lot of good written materials, a lot of video materials that talk about what I'm about to talk about. And so what you're witnessing is this. Two things, and I'm going to get right back into the subject. What I've learned is that, because I've been teaching for a while like this. I got knowledge of self when I was 20, 21. What I've learned is that this subject is what separates people into the most important groups. This subject right here, sex. It is the separator that says in 500 years whose lineage will be extinct and whose lineage will still be here. It's the evidence also of who is the most civilized and aware and who is the most savage. This subject, how people segment themselves on this subject, is going to teach you all about people. So, when the subject of sex comes up, listen very closely and clearly when you're talking to people, because you're going to learn all the things you need to learn about that person that are valuable. So, let's go back. Introduction, and I'm going to define this, then we're going to jump right into the heat. Introduction, the most important undiscussed topic, sex. This is the most important subject I have ever covered. There will be things in this text you have never heard, seen, or even thought of. That is what I consider the first ever well-rounded class on sex. This is what I consider the first ever well-rounded class on sex. My most important point is that gender in male and female, expressing itself culturally as man and woman amongst humans, is the most important function. Androgyny as a function means the movement towards extinction of a species. Androgyny here means the cultural and biological actions of confusing gender sex, biological altering of male and female forms, and the impact of that on a society. Understanding all aspects of sex, then, is important to our entire existence. By sex, we mean, now we're jumping into culture. What culture are you talking about, Brother Ali? I'm talking indigenous culture. I'm talking indigenous American culture. I'm talking indigenous Black American culture. Because I know y'all got this thing about the spirits and the twin spirits and the double spirits. Oh, we did very good research on how y'all think. So this book is the book that introduces a culture of sex to humanity that comes from our ancestors. Sex as in gender. So we're defining sex. Sex is male and female. So you have people who say and believe, which is their right, that even though they're in a male body, they're female. And then you have females who say, I'm in a female body, but I'm a man, or I'm male. No, you are not. Nature and science does not agree with you. Okay? If I am 6'1", between 6 feet and 6'1", if I get my license out, I can't go down to the DMV and say, I'm feeling 6'5" today. I need you to put 6'5" on my ID. Even though I'm 200 pounds, I'm feeling 250 today. I need you to put 6'5", 250 on my ID. What are they going to say? They're going to say, Mr. Shiali, that's not legal. And I'm going to be like, why? Because they're going to say, well, we measured you and you're 6 feet and a half, 6'1". And you're 200 pounds. I'm going to be like, well, I'm feeling Chinese today. I don't want to be labeled as whatever. I'm Chinese. I'm Asian. So now we got all of these things that we can measure, right? Because we can measure the fact that I'm a man because I have these things called Y chromosomes. If I, Dwayne Wade's son, my Tekken, my obelisk, that does not take away the trillions of Y chromosomes that I have. I could take a test and they could say, well, those Y chromosomes didn't disappear because you took hormonal treatment and you cut off your obelisk. So how is it that this crept in? That people are like this? Well, there's a lot of things going on that's making people feel this way. And it starts with the parents. Because when the child comes out with the thinking that's off, you can do an endocrine test and see the endocrine system is off. What did the mother eat during the pregnancy? How did she feel during the pregnancy? What did she read? What did she see and hear? What was the music that she listened to? What about the father? All the same questions. This goes to show that nature expects human beings to eventually learn themselves to a degree that they can protect themselves. Because if they can't, they could do things to injure and damage themselves and move themselves closer to extinction. That is the point. And so sex as in gender, sex as in sexual intercourse between a male and a female. All right? I don't know what you talk about Patron, because that ain't Patron. We don't drink Patron. If you mean Patreon, I'm going to put it in the chat. Patreon. I'll put it in the chat. If you're looking for Patreon, I'll put it in the chat. Somebody's asking about Patron. I'm like, hey, bro, we don't do Patron. If you want to sign up for my Patreon, I'll put it in the chat on both channels, and you can go there and sign up. All right, let's go back. Sexual intercourse can only happen between a male and a female. Sexual reproduction can only happen between the male and the female. Sexual expression, sexuality, can only happen between a male and a female. So now let's rate sex. The first thing I want to do as an unbiased observer is rate sex in importance in the world. As humans, we do have things we absolutely need for survival. We know we need food to eat to replenish our bodies. We also need water to stay hydrated. We also need air to breathe. We need the celestial spheres, the sun, the moon, the planets, all the stuff up in the sky. We cannot live without these things. They are absolutes to our existence. So that's 4 things. Where does sex fit? Well, we need bodies to make food, water, air, sunshine, and the rest of all the celestial orbs relevant. We need bodies. How do we make bodies? We have sex. We procreate and we birth children. Sex is an absolute in order to exist. Sex is not an opinion. Let's dig deeper. Can we contaminate the food, the water, the air, and the sunlight? Yes, we can. We live in a world where environmental pollution is at the top of political discussion. GMO foods, poor soil, and plants and animals being subjected to toxins all impact us. Contaminated water and air all impact society. There are projects to block out sunlight, which would adversely impact indigenous peoples more than Eurasians, as we, you melanin indigenous people, require sunlight as a nutrient. So, since these absolute necessities can be contaminated, can sex be contaminated? Can procreation be contaminated? What happens when disease-infested what happens when disease-infested bodies have sex? What happens when these weaker bodies procreate? How significant is being ignorant of the power of sex to our world? I would say it's absolutely significant. In fact, it belongs with our top 4 we just mentioned. Our world can collapse if we remain ignorant of its influence and power, and we are witnessing the collapse and perhaps have not connected the dots. And so now, this is our dilemma. We need to learn about sex. Now, let's scroll down a little bit and go to this thing. We have here. Have y'all seen this person right here? Wewa. This is a Native American, by the way. The Two-Spirit community. Y'all are out there. Y'all saying that we've been doing this. Been doing something and it being functional is 2 different things. These modern, let me read about the 2 spirits. All right. So the concept of the 2-spirited burdock came from European invaders observing the Hidasta tribe, a Eurasian group of immigrants whose ancestors were not originally aboriginal to the Americas. They were descendants of Eurasians who migrated to this land. We discussed these migrations in our former text, the lost aboriginal heritage of the so-called Negro African American. The cultural phenomenon did not exist among the Shi, Olmec, and Maya or any of these lineal tribes that form in the American Southeast and South. It does show up amongst the Zuni in New Mexico, who were directly related to these Eurasian Hidatsa. So these are the maps of the Hidatsa settlements. I have to deal with this. The commentary on these burdocks from the invaders was given. William Clark recorded what appears to be the earliest written account of these individuals during the voyage of discovery, 1804 to 1805, over wintering near the Knife River. His diary entry of December 22nd, 1804, notes that a number of squaws, women and men, dressed in squaws' clothes, came with corn to sell to the men for little things. Later in the entries of Fort Mandan miscellany, Clark mentions that a punishment for boys too fond of women is to dress and perform the duties of women during life, including sexual duties. However, believes Clark, conflated generalized transgender behavior with specifically sexual behavior. Washington Matthews, an Army staff surgeon posted near the Hidatsa in the 1870s, recorded the next published comment on Hidatsa bird apes, sexual preferences in the ethnography and philology of the Hidatsa Indians. And then they keep going on, and they're going to talk about this person who's a cross-dressing person. So this was here amongst the Eurasians. But when you go to the Black indigenous Aboriginal populations, you see something different. Now we have to deal with matriarchal culture. You often hear people say, this is matriarchal. We weren't patriarchal, we were matriarchal. People do not read. They just say stuff. One of the biggest lies ever told about the organization of true indigenous American civilizations is that they were matriarchal. This ploy by Euro-American historians and anthropologists is more of a tactic to implement social engineering than it is a historical reality. The concept of gender was displayed and is still displayed in the art and monuments of the Shi. We can still travel to the locations to witness it. The patriarchs, Ahau, which means chiefs, and matriarchs, Eshel being the lead ancestral matriarch, were well respected in a very balanced manner. Phallus veneration. Veneration of male authority and power is seen throughout the early and classical Mayan Shi civilization. There are two interesting features to this veneration. It was placed in public locations. All of the phalli show circumcision, or they show apostia, which I've talked about apostia, but I won't go into it. All right, so this is a monument. And so we have these monuments, but look at this. I want you to see something. This is a man. This is a woman. Look at how she's dressed. She has the sacred Powhatan, the cross there. Look at how she's dressed. Look at how he's dressed. These people got Olmec phalluses that they paying thousands of dollars for. Why? Why were these monuments like this? All of these depictions were constructed into art to solidify the importance of masculinity in their culture. The chiefs participated in both circumcision to hold the ancient traditions, all right, and ritual phallic bloodletting to display the willingness to sacrifice themselves for the unity of the body politic. They were unlike today's men who displayed their penises online on porn sites to sell sex as an item of entertainment. The values of these ancients were very different from the weak culture of today. Masculinity has been socially engineered and it's toxic now. Why? Because in order for corruption to exist amongst an elite, the men in the society must be weakened. They are the first threat to those who want to carry out the corruption. What we are witnessing is eugenics in operation to take away masculinity by select groups of people who know is social threat to their agenda, meaning masculinity. Thus, the modern gender wars we are witnessing are more than political talk. They are deep levels of social engineering with a very dangerous agenda. This is an attack on heterosexuality, which was the most important theme amongst these ancient indigenous peoples, displayed through their art, monuments, and culture. These are all the sites that you can go to see these things. Then you have Ixchel. Look at her. Why is she holding the rabbit? Lady of the Red. Why is she holding a rabbit? There was no birth control. The reason why she had a rabbit. Rabbits are very fertile. Yet one significant reality is that they will not ovulate until they interact with a male rabbit in sexual intercourse. They are induced ovulators. They only ovulate in the presence of male rabbit pheromones, and they will cloister until they are ready to mate. Ixchel was telling the world that this was the original state of human women. Original woman does not menstruate monthly, though she ovulates. Only stressed, biologically inferior women do. Most of today's modern women no longer cloister, and this action has caused massive disruption in their hormonal states. And the epigenetic impact of multiple male pheromones on them is evident to anyone aware enough to know proper history, psychology, and anatomy and physiology from the mind of the ancients. The glyph for red in Ixchel's name is telling the story of menstruation as a curse. And her cult was dedicated to healing it. You cannot gain this knowledge from reading about culture from foreign anthropologists, archaeologists, and historians. They are completely out of tune with why these symbols were left in art and monuments. So, Mr. Shia Ali, how do you acquire it? I don't have to acquire it. It's stored as memory in my genes because these are my ancestors. Go show me the person on earth who's telling you why Ixchel has a rabbit and why she's called Lady of the Red. I'll wait. I'll wait. It's right behind me. What is it saying? She's holding a lotus from Mexico. Pheromones. The snake is the first animal on earth to deliver what we call pheromones in exchange. The rabbit is induced ovulation. Where are the Mexicans that can teach you this? Where are the Native Americans that can bring out their elders to teach you this? Why don't they know? The attack on masculinity. So you're a man and you have sex. Who are you having sex with? Your girlfriend? Your baby mama? Oh, you pay for it. Like cash. Look at the world you're living in. Multiply it by 2 generations, the babies that are here now, under 10 years old, and their children. You're cooked. You're cooked. Now to the men, you're looking at the women and you're saying they're cooked. But here's the question. I'm going to just ask the question. How many women are under your care that you guide into your culture and children to protect them? How many? You say, no, nigga, I don't want to deal with these crazy ass women. So you're just going to let it happen. You lost your nuts. You don't have any anymore. Why are you here? Why are you here? You mean to tell me you're walking around with the machinery to solve problems and you put that shit on delete? Do you realize how serious what I am talking about actually is? Go outside. Look around. Look at what children are doing. Look at what the parents are doing. So my point is, we live in a very dangerous place and we're acting like it's normal. No one is telling you to stress out about it, but you need to be aware. Then you won't be worried about clubs. You'll be very worried about someone who took the vaccine saying they love you and they want to be with you. Be very concerned about that. And so I'm telling you, let me go back to my slide. I'm telling you that when you see this, it's very meaningful. This is why they want to pale wash you out of history. I keep telling people this. People are they ask me, like, why are you so? One guy came on my post and said, I'm divisive because I posted this. Let me show you what I posted. He said, I'm dividing and I'm falling to the tactics of the enemies. We need to be together and I'm dividing the people. All right, let me show you what I posted so you can see why he said that. I posted this. This is what I posted. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you what I posted. Okay. Give me a second. This is what I posted. Right here. He said, we need each other and I'm being divisive, right? No. I have many, many friends of European origin. They love my content. And they know I'm not making a mockery of them. I am highlighting something that is so important that it is vital for every human being to know it. Take a look. America, Africa, Eurasia. Now, why am I educating people on these things in this way? First of all, you didn't know it existed. Like, this is from a very rare material, even with the internet. Second of all, I need you to pay attention to what I'm saying because it is the absolute truth. I do not care what anybody tells you, and I can defend it. What you're seeing right here, matter of fact, let me go here. The Madonna and Child, right? Let's be very clear. When this first showed up in the Slavic region, this was not Mary and Jesus. You have to consult the primary text. This was not Mary and Jesus. This was the demiurge, the mother God. It was not Mary and Jesus. There was no Christianity when these images first started. These are Byzantine images, and the Byzantines were not Christians until a much later date. Now they are. You want to know what this was? You want to know? Let me know. Do you know what this was? The image of the demiurge in the Gnostic system of the Byzantines. Think about this now. I need you to think about this because this is the power of sex and this is about culture. These images right here show up in regions where all white people are, all pale people, but it's a black woman and a child. Why do you think they got this image? I'm about to break this down for you. They got the image because she's a midwife. Why would a midwife be a god, a demiurge, to the people in the European steppe? I swear to you, this is absolute truth. I cannot make this shit up. Why would a midwife be a deity to these people? Because their fertility had fallen so low that they needed original people to help them. And this is in the Sumerian text. This is in several civilizations where they are dealing with these wild people. Enkidu, the wild man. The satyrs, the wild men and women. And so Mary and Jesus come later, but the original image is dealing with fertility. And so you get all of these names: Europa, Athena. These are all black women. Asia. These are originally all black women. The continents, America. And why then, Ali, is this the first image of a white woman with the child? This is the first one. Challenge me. I'll defeat you. I will defeat you every time academically. Why is a hairy woman, hairy children, and a hairy man? They're hairy because of something that happened to them. We have something called eccrine glands, and we have something called apocrine glands. Apocrine glands have hair. Eccrine glands are sweat glands. So most dark-skinned people with hair like me are not hairy. We grow hair in specific places. The men grow hair on their face. There's a reason for that. We grow hair on our heads. We grow hair under our arms. And we grow hair around our reproductive organs. You can look at my legs. My legs don't have damn near not an inch of hair on them. Now, mixing and doing other things causes variation. But I'm talking about design for a reason. The reason why they're so hairy is because it explains something about something that happened to their fertility. Hair is a thermoregulator and a secretion of pheromones. By the time you have what appears to be a human with all of this hair, their body is in an extreme state trying to cook up pheromones so that there will not be intralocus and interlocus sexual conflict. Why is this the first depiction of a white woman in with the child? You see all the other ones. Let me change this and go to the next one, because this will explain it. Oh, it's about to get deep. Here we go. Another image. These are all images of what you call wild men and wild women from medieval Europe. This is Adam and Eve, or their version, I should say. And what do you see in the background? Don't you see the rabbit? Don't you see the rabbit? Now, this was made by Master BX8, code name. Look at the rabbit. Look at the owl. Look at the doves. Look at the mountain. The owl is on the mountain. The owl is the evil omen. This is the need for fertility, escaping the mountain. The doves represent the providence of God. This is the tree of life. And then you have them with their babies. Look at them. They went through something. They degenerated. They used to be eumelanin people. A war commenced. They degenerated down to animal-like beings. We helped them. That's why all of their deities were midwives, demiurges, mother gods leading up to Mariam. We helped them. These are very rare images, but I'm teaching you something very important. This is all in their history. And so when you read about Adam and Eve and children being born with hair, Esau versus Jacob and Jacob, you're reading about this, but our people don't understand what this is. This is their secret story. And so now you got to go back to your story. Let's go back to your story. I'm going to show you your story. Here's your story. Here's your story. This is your story right here. This is your story. Mexico, Egypt. Lotus. What is that? That is understanding culture. The lotus is an increaser of melanin and an increaser of something called apomorphine. Look it up. Apomorphine. Look it up. Look it up right now. The people of Tamari love sexuality between man and woman. They used their natural environment to enhance these pleasures as they saw it as a means to build greater bonds. They used the blue lotus flower to do so. I will discuss this in greater detail later. There is no evidence that they had dildos, or pornographic public displays of sex to stimulate them until post-invasion. They were stimulated by aesthetic art, plants, and the bonds they had. We see similar plants being used by their Aboriginal American relatives. We will discuss entheogens in greater detail in another chapter. And so let's talk about it, sister. This is from our rites of passage. And these are the degrees of woman: female, daughter, sister, woman, wife, mother, elder, ancestor, goddess. Imagine your hormones ain't even stable as a female, and you want to jump right to goddess and do a goddess retreat. These are degrees. Were you a protected daughter? Did you learn how to be a sister where you divorce yourself from jealousy and start to learn purpose? Are you a woman? And what does that mean culturally to you? Did you become a mother before you became a wife? That's out of order. You need to be a wife before you become a mother. That's out of nature's order. How are you an elder, right? Right? And not a wife, unless you're a widow. You see how out of order things are? Let's go to this. Oh, we don't need men. We can do men. We can think about how dumb I'm about to make this sound, because we have to attack the cultural attacks on you. They're in your belief systems. They're in the things you believe, which means they're in your thoughts. And that means your thoughts have been hacked, because thoughts do not begin in the brain. Virgins giving birth is called parthenogenesis, according to what we know. Parthenogenesis is not real. And in fact, a simple study of the etymology of the word reveals the secret. Parthenos, like the Parthenon. In Greek, which there's no such thing as Greek, it's Punic. But Parthenos in Greek can easily be deciphered as per tekken. Punic comes from Medunetter. Period. Per tekken. That's where you get the word Parthenos. In ancient Egyptian, what does per tekken mean? Per means womb or house. The pharaoh would say the women of the house, or the women of the womb, referring to the wives of the house. And tekken is the word for obelisk, the symbol of the penis. The word Parthenos means womb and penis. Are you dumb? Then they went as far as to put it on the walls of the Temple of Luxor, the Temple of Light. So this is what Immaculate Conception looks like. This is what parthenogenesis actually is. Parthenogenesis is a woman who knows her traditions, a woman who is initiated by elder women, and a woman who learns secret sciences from the fashioner of humans called Noom. Then you get the scene of her with her sisterhood giving birth on a birth stool to Amenhotep III. Amenhotep III was later called Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus was the root of all of alchemy and Gnostic studies. They try to say he's Tahuti. He became the Kyriistos, Christ. So the whole story of Christ is about how to make a functional family from a man and a woman who come together to immaculately conceive their planned children. Meanwhile, you're in church with a gay pastor, a bisexual pastor, a weirdo who is pushing a man who does not have a wife, and he is the ultimate man. The ultimate man in your psychology is one who does not have a wife, one who never touches a woman. Something is wrong. And look at those ox that are being held to her nose. Do you know what that is? That is your whole pheromonal circuit in the brain. The circle of Willis is the ankh. It's not a womb. It's not all of these things you're making up. They knew anatomy and physiology. They're not putting it to her yoni. They're putting it to her nose. The vomeronasal organ, which is the organ that you take in, the molecular odorants called pheromones, and they innervate all the way into your limbic system, the amygdala and the anterior cingulate. So you're walking around and you're at Planet Fitness. You work a job because you have no culture outside of your home. You have no strength. You have no men around you. And you're walking around stressed because you believe being single is being happy. And it is when you don't have men, maybe for you. But it retards your whole development by nature. You want to know how retarded the world is? They don't even know the most important thing you have is a family. That's how retarded the world is. Yes, we have to call a spade a spade. It's at her nose. You cannot make this stuff up. This is a global culture. Look at it. What do you think that serpent is on her head? How many times do you have to see it? There's no way we have all these Egyptian Afrocentric teachers, and they never told you that that ankh was there because of this organ. There's no way. There's no way that we're sitting here with all of this knowledge, and what do we have going on? You say pheromones aren't real? These are studies that prove they are. And we can go on and on and on and remain undefeated. Have you ever tried the plant and seen the impact? Do you know how many studies there are talking about the use, the cultural use of the plants? How many times have we been lied to? How many? How many? And then we get to the important parts. Now we got to tell the truth. Where did this come from? Where did it come from? Who's that? That's Pan. What does the urge come from? To be with an animal. See, we talk about interlocutor sexual conflict and intralocutor sexual conflict. We talk about epigenetics, we talk about genetics, but we need to talk about it in another way. It's stored memory. Why did you give the yoni up? Because that imprint is on your child. Now you have the deep level of honesty that you must face in order to address it. And most people won't. The good people will. And when you don't address it, it doubles and triples in each generation. But check this out. They said putting it in an animal is crazy. But what is the crazy woman with the lashes, the fake hair, the fake butt, or the Instagram influencer, or the woman who wants to be a goddess and she's not even a sister? She's just like this animal. She is an animal. He is an animal. What is the brother who's trying to coerce you into polygyny and he don't even have a place to live? Is he not an animal? Do you know where you live? Do you know who you live amongst? Look at it. What is going on here? This is real pottery, bro. What is going on here? Let's go to India. What you doing to that horse, bruh? What is happening here? Let's keep going. Let's not make it let's not make it anything but the absolute truth. Oh no, you're not getting away. Oh yeah. In the general population, anal cancer is a rare disease. Few people knew about it before Farrah Fawcett made public her struggle with the illness. Among men who have sex with men, the incidence of anal cancer is significantly more prevalent and increasing annually. However, the majority of MSNs know little about the disease, have ever been tested for it, nor know that screening tests exist. Healthcare professionals, too, remain divided on how and whether to screen for it. In fact, a standardized screening protocol for anal cancer does not yet exist. Each year, anal cancer is diagnosed in about 2 people out of every 100,000 people in the general population. Current estimates are that HIV negative MSNs are 20 times more likely to be diagnosed with anal cancer. You are flushing semen microbiome into an anal cavity and trying to figure out why you got this problem. These are studies they're doing now. I'm just putting the articles out. HPV, women getting HPV. Candida in your vaginal canal. Then we go and we start peeling back and we say, wait a minute, how did people get to think this way? Well, in walks Jewish Edward Bernays, was an American theorist, considered a pioneer in the field of public relations and propaganda, and referred to his obituary as the father of public relations. His best-known campaigns include a 1929 effort to promote female smoking by branding cigarettes as feminist torches of freedom, and his work for the United Fruit Company in the 1950s connected with the CIA-orchestrated overthrow of a democratically elected Guatemalan government in 1954. He worked for dozens of major American corporations, including Procter & Gamble and General Electric, and for government agencies, politicians, and nonprofit organizations. What was his job? His job was to make women into feminists. These are the people who have shaped public policy. Oh, we are not even close to getting to where we want to talk. We're not even close. Who is this guy? Dr. Alfred Kinsey. Who is he? In 1938, the Association of Women Students petitioned Indiana University to offer a course on marriage for students who are married or contemplating marriage. Part of the nationwide demand for similar courses, Dr. Kinsey, popular with students, was invited to coordinate the new course, Marriage and Family, restricted to senior and married IU students. So he faced with all these questions. You know what he did? You know what he did? Let me show you what he did. He went and got these other Jewish people, and they developed funding, federal funding and private funding, the sexual revolution. And what was this about? This is the man who gave him some of the money. Woo! Boy, this is deep. See, y'all over here playing. Who are your leaders? God damn it. I want to know. I want to know. You know what? Let me go down to his book. There we go. By the way, these people are all Jewish. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, check it out. Just check it out. You want to know where this comes from? You want to know who the people are? Well, who is this? You don't know her? And you're a black woman in America? You don't know her? You don't have her books. You haven't read what she wrote about this. Oh my. Let me come off of this real quick, because I'm not going to show the whole book. I do want to get to something, though, that I think is important. You see it. Soy, the baby formulas. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at it. You are being attacked from every angle. And when you have no culture and no jurisdiction, no leadership, no men to stand up, you are food. The babies are coming out saying that they were born GAY. I wonder why. See what happens? Man, listen, this book hold on, let me get to where I want to actually get to. You know what? Let me come off of this, actually. Let's talk. The world is a scam. You have very low quality leadership. Black culture has been hijacked. It's not even yours anymore. You have to do something to reorchestrate it. What I'm telling you is you don't know how to have sex with your women. You don't have a culture of sex. You're not controlling the narrative of sex, the education of sex, the fun of sex. You're popping, what are they popping now? Viagra or whatever else y'all popping now. You popping all kinds of stuff. Hell, drink some damn Blue Lotus. Improve your whole nutrition and performance. I'm going to tell you the truth. Sometimes, and it's just a few of us in honor that are men, we've been looking around like, damn, where these niggas at? And then we like, oh, they dead. They're dead. So what I'm trying to say to you is this: the most important subject on the internet that you could ever have. People are not even able to articulate anything culturally because they don't know shit. The worst thing you can have is a bunch of dumb people who believe that they're smart. Because you got to get past the arrogance to show them they don't know shit. Then comfortably communicate what they need to know. You, woman, you're going to let a bum ass nigga come along, ski, all in you, get you pregnant, bring another life form into existence, and then wonder what the problem is with humanity? Does a school shooter come from a planned, loving pregnancy? Or is it a higher probability that a school shooter would come from a woman who knows nothing about nutrition, who got pregnant by a man who was on alcohol, who grew up as a single mother, stressed out, child not getting the attention that it deserves? Therefore, they are subject to the public school system and put on Ritalin and Prozac, damaging all aspects of their brain circuitry, nervous system, functioning of the frontal lobe. And then the child, after 16 years of torture, goes and shoots up the school And everybody is saying, we don't know why Robbie did that. We know why Robbie did that. So I only have one question for Black people. When are you going to fire all of the people who are keeping you in this condition? I'm talking about all of them. Y'all want to turn the temperature up? Y'all want to turn the temperature up? Some of my own brothers who are FOI don't like me because I try to protect women and children to the best of my ability. And there's a culture in the NOI of messing with little girls. So much so that the Muslims who used to be around me, even in Arna, don't even come around me no more because I pointed it out. I wrote a whole book on it. Where's the book? Do I have the book? Maybe I have it. Yeah, I wrote the whole book right here. Here's the book right here. I put it all in here. And I did a documentary on it. But you know what I learned about human beings? Let me tell you what I learned about human beings. Let them die. And that is, I'm not saying that because I'm upset with anybody. I don't need agreement. When you don't, what is this verse? Don't cast your pearls among swine. When people are in a state of devaluing the most important things to them and increasing value in the things that are the worst things to them, that is what you call momentum in direction. And you know what you're supposed to do? Get out of the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. And so this is the culture that you grew up in. Your children are going to grow up in it. Your grandchildren are going to grow up in it. What are you going to do? Is the question that I have. I could write the most immaculate book in history. And the people who take wisdom from anyone of value and use it, but right now, amongst people who think that they want to do good for themselves and their family and their people, there's a predator. We have them and had them amongst our tribe. What do? They come in and they say, I want multiple wives. They can't take care of the women. They have a history of child support cases, and nobody's doing background checks. This is the world you live in. You have people who want to guide people on health, right? Guide people on health. I ain't gonna start. Everything is on my Patreon. It's literally all the documentaries on my Patreon. I can't put them anywhere else. They shut down my YouTube channel for putting up the documentaries. My point to you is you're surrounded by imposters. Now let's go to the women. You might be a woman. You might feel like, I don't need a man. Great. That's your own priority. But you don't need to be around other women. You don't need to be around children. You need to stick to yourself and people who agree with you. You might be a man and you feel like I ain't dealing with these women. Go right ahead. That's what you decide. Go live your life, make some money, travel the world, buy you some prostitutes. Go have fun in your vision of what fun is. But the world is messed up. And for the people who want to fix it, you can't fix a car if you're not a mechanic, or not necessarily the title, but the function of a mechanic. How you going to fix a car? You don't even know what a catalytic converter is, and which cars have catalytic converters and which ones don't have them anymore. What an alternator belt is. Where the transmission fluid goes versus the oil. Why a car needs antifreeze. Basic stuff that you can buy Car MD, which is a software, plug it up into the USB. Every car has a USB port under the steering wheel. Download a report of everything that's wrong with it before you go to the mechanic for free. Careful, protection, discipline. Why? I'm 50 years old. I never had a erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation problem. Never. I never will. There are men coming to me in their 20s with premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction. And so now you're married and your wife and you are not having good bonding, loving sex. Or you don't know how to orchestrate a relationship. Y'all want to be up under each other all the time. But you should be working. You should be working. I have 4 women to take care of and 8 children. Damn near 5. Helping other people out. And women, you need a sisterhood that keeps you in a discipline. You don't know how to be a daughter, sister, woman, wife, mother. I'm going to ask you the question, and this is going to tell me, where do people go? Watch this now. Watch how deep this gets. Where do women go to learn how to become outstanding women for their families, community, culture? Where do they go? Start naming them. Name the places. MGT? Oh, you mean the same MGT? And this is not disrespect to my sisters who want to practice righteousness, but a part of righteousness is telling the truth. And a part of telling the truth is asking a question. There is no way I could be the man that I am today without the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He is one of the most outstanding human beings that I have ever peeked into his brain. He did so much to sacrifice his life to bring Black people a message of wisdom. But at the same time, he was 63 years old and was dealing with a 15-year-old girl who conceived a child at 16 years old. No one can sue me for this. The research is there. She was the only one that was that young, but one is enough. Malcolm lied and said it was a whole bunch of people, and Malcolm was upset because he wanted to marry Evelyn. He did not like Betty Shabazz. He had a horrible marriage with Betty Shabazz. And when he saw that a 31-year-old woman named Evelyn had a baby by Elijah Muhammad, he was upset because he had told Elijah that he had committed fornication with Evelyn. Why am I putting this all out? Because you got the wrong information in your head and you need to know the right information. So you could do great. Here's the thing. You could do great your whole life and then have one very foul thing that happens and you destroy an empire. That is the lesson of the Nation of Islam. Clara Muhammad was there with Elijah Muhammad from the beginning, from Cordell, Georgia, right down the street, Sandersville, creating the first private schools for our people, working, going to jail, fighting against all kinds of adversity to build community. Then you got this flaw. That's a lesson to men. Then everybody trying to cover it up. You ever seen black people in the community? You ever seen black people in the community trying to hide the uncle that's touching the little girl in the family? You know how crazy that is? It's women in the family that will protect the uncle that's touching the little girls. That's how y'all look now to the world. Imagine you can't come to conclusive awareness about a disturbing event because you are in a cult mindset. Just imagine that. The fact that it's 2026 and this sister is saying this. Look at what she's saying now. Look at this. The proper sacred spaces get to be developed. It should be a group of women who are wives teaching women and girls. Now, I'm not saying that there are no women doing this because there are women in different communities doing their best to guide people. My point is you are incapable. And I'm proving to it how incapable you are because there are barriers and limitations that your men have to get together and militarily assess so that you can be free from those things that are obstructions to what developments that you want to do with women and girls. Where do your men meet to do that? You know how hard it is to get niggas in a meeting? Focused. I have 30 years of experience. Ask me. So what I'm trying to tell you is you're closer to extinction level event than you are to transformation as a group. That's reality. And some people are just, they don't care. They just bow it out. They don't need a documentary. They don't need a book. I'm not saying you're wrong or right. I'm just saying, where do you think that goes? Where do you think that goes? I'm saying that y'all could try anything that y'all want. And I'm not talking about just black people. I'm talking about human beings being extinct. I'm talking about human beings being extinct. Just because they don't know how to maintain family in a very peaceful way. I'm not talking about the theater. I'm pretty sure Trump and Melania look good online. I don't know about their relationship in real life. Emotional pain is transferred to children. Your children are walking around with that pain. You are a child that possibly grew up with that pain. It's not your fault if something happened to you. It is your fault if you keep letting it happen. It is your fault if you keep letting it happen. What I have noticed is that people are tired. Like, they're tired. They're out of energy. And one of the reasons you're out of energy is because you have not dealt with whatever trauma that you have. You are dishonest about it. And dishonesty is a very bad thing to have going on for your nervous system. It's a very bad thing to go on for your physiology. This is a very dysfunctional thing. You will be bitter and acting like everything is okay until you get that diagnosis of cancer somewhere or some type of other serious thing, because you have suppressed the flow of force and energy. You're lying to yourself or to someone else. For what? And when danger comes in your environment, it communicates with you in so many ways. It communicates on your body. It communicates in your thought process. What I'm telling you is this is the purge. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's okay. I'm warning you. It's how many people in here? It's only a few people in here. What people are concerned about is the very thing that's the least important. What people are mostly not concerned about are the things that are the most important. And so when you have people like that, you have to leave them there. There's nothing that you can do. I promise you. You will lose energy trying to do something with them. So the power of energy is in creativity and creating things that are functional. And so what I'm trying to say is that functional thing that you create, you have power to develop it. Women have a responsibility. Women are terrible at their responsibilities. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. We're talking about the power of sex. Women are terrible at their responsibilities. Why are they terrible at responsibilities? Trauma. Undiscussed trauma and repeated cycles. How do you have the womb and you're looking at the world wondering why it's like that? Just think about that for a second. Think about why you have sex. Think about who you have sex with. Are you doing it for money? Are you doing it because he looks good? Why are you doing it? Men, why are you choosing the woman that you are choosing? You don't know if she took the vaccine or not. Boy, you in trouble. Boy, you in trouble. That girl got the Magic Johnson, bruh. She got the Magic Johnson. Hey, look, I done heard some crazy stuff. I heard people say, we got Dr. Sebi now. We ain't worrying about. You got what? So now the Magic Johnson is being passed all around. That's biowarfare. That is biological warfare. Imagine knowing all. Just imagine. Let me go back to it. Imagine this. I'm going to share something with you. Imagine. I'm just going to be straight up with you about it. Imagine. Now, you have your culture right now. Imagine if you live by that culture right there. That culture in that book. It's not necessarily, it's a culture, it's a world. Imagine. Uterine fibroids are caused by excessive pheromone intervention, and it's caused by the invasion of the sexome in the cervical mucosa, meaning you have had multiple men that you have had copulation with. Their microbiome is in part of your body, and you're constantly being bombarded by male pheromones. You're going to get fibroids, and you're going to continue to get fibroids. 1 in every 3 women get fibroids. It might be way more than that now. Some women have it and they don't know. So somebody's asking me about fibroids. You can get rid of fibroids in 8 weeks. With nutrition, diet, cloistering, all the things that you need to do. It's easy to do. Getting rid of fibroids is easy. You don't have to get a hysterectomy and get your body parts taken out. But you got to have a culture. We talk about fibroids in this and how it's caused. What if you live by this culture? And so let me explain something. I put pressure on myself for one reason. Because I'm aware. That's why I put pressure on myself to write the book, to talk about the lectures. It's helping me. And it's helping anybody who it comes in contact with. Whether they're ready to drop bad habits or not, you can read one book on sex from all the research, from the angle of the research, and you can solve all of your sexual discrepancies that are culturally in violation of that which is best for you and your children, and you can do it forever. Ain't none of your black leaders coming to talk to you like this. They can't. They're weirdos. They can't do it. They can't do it. They can't stand before you with confidence because they like messing with little girls. They're not interested in you protecting your family. You are a coin. They're not interested in educating you. They're not. You're a coin to them only. Bring me on your talk shows now. I'm doing interviews now. For years, almost 9 years, I said I ain't doing no interviews. I ain't doing none of that. Just a little particular. I will do your interview now. Bring all of the professors. Are we going to talk about Dr. Alfred Kinsley? We could talk about it. And so my message to the people who have sense, this is the best thing I can tell you. Stay around other people who have sense and enjoy your life. That's your duty. Your duty is not to save these niggas. None of them. That's not your duty. You're confused. You think your job is to go and save them. I am telling you, you are off assignment. Education is not trying to save people. Education is you sharing with the hopes that your goodwill offering will be received and it could inspire someone to be the best that they can be. That's not trying to save a nigga. That's you living your purpose. There's a difference. You're stressed because you're trying to save people. They might even be in your family. You want to save your auntie. You want to save your mama. You want to save your daddy. You want to save your brothers. You want to save your sisters. Hell, you want to save your children. You want to save... No, you cannot live your life like that. You will burn out. You are tired. Most people who get awareness, the first thing they do is they get really tired because they don't know why they're getting awareness. And so you need to shift gears. Yes, we have education. Yes, we use tactics to get things over to people. And yes, we want anybody who has an opportunity to become a better human being, become a better human being. Your job is not to save these things. And let me say this to women. You are not tactical enough to understand how to solve these problems. There are some things, men, that you will have to implement amongst your brotherhood. You can't even go home and talk about it. You can't. It's dangerous. But that's for elevated men. And so by the time you get to the point where we're talking about the intimacy of bonding and sex, you need to study. That's all I can say. It's a huge part of your health in all types of ways to understand cultural sex, to understand intimacy, to understand massage. And then go around and look at the Black community. I'm telling you what you're going to see for the most part. You're going to see a bunch of tired ass niggas. I don't care what level of knowledge they have, what profession that they have, what they might be doing well, money, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're tired. You can see it. And their ideas are tired. Scams are draining. They drain you. You have to keep making them. But real education is different. It's just us having a conversation on the most important thing with a clear plan, a clear communication, and a clear opportunity. What is the opportunity? Read. Study yourself. That is your job. I don't care if you're a grandmother, a auntie, a uncle, a daddy, a mama, a child, a preacher, a doctor, a lawyer. It does not matter who you are. This is the most pressing conversation that we can have as a people. Who are you having sex with and why? some of you are possessed and you don't know it. And I'm not spooky at all, because I'm going to close on this point. You're possessed. You're possessed with a warped way of thinking that's causing warped behavior. Look what she said. Don't sleep. All them scammers be multimillionaires. First of all, it's not easy. I mean, it's not hard to be a multimillionaire. Like, that's not hard. People be thinking that things are hard. The reason why things are hard to some people is because they just don't know how to do it. Second of all, if you think these people are happy, you are utterly confused. I could tell, and this is not just a diss to you, I could tell who ain't never been around rich people or who never been wealthy. You have an idea about a lifestyle because you saw it. Maybe you saw it online. Maybe you're thinking these people are on meth, fentanyl, to suppress what they had to do to get the money. They're in torment on Henny every day. There is nothing ever in life greater than your peace. It is not for sale. Sorry. I damn near will dare you to go show me a store, a person that can sell you peace. And if you never had peace, you don't know how valuable it is. Maybe because you never really felt it. I'm going to tell you something. Peace is high, literally. Some of us live such disturbed lives on a regular, abnormal lives that we think are normal on the regular, decisions that we made that cause a crisis in our life on the regular. We don't know. If you never made $1 million, you don't understand. First of all, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not all that what you're thinking it is. It's the creativity and the vision, the execution. Do you understand what a dopamine cortisol fix is? It's called an addiction. It's the key to having problems with withdrawal. And so what's going to happen when your money up sometimes and your money down? You feel bad when your money is down? Because you're addicted. And you're waiting on others to give it to you because of maybe you're an actor, maybe you're a rapper, maybe you work somewhere. I don't know. But to be a creator is a different feeling. The blessing can never be cut off. I'm telling you this because I live like this my whole adult life. I am not making nothing up. I have businesses I have been running for 25 years from their inception with no failure and collapse to them. With evidence, the paper trail. And all I'm saying is there's essential things that human beings need. One of the things that you definitely need is not to be sticking your tekken, your obelisk, in toxic yoni. it's hard for you because you just stated why it's hard. You believe it's hard. You believe it's hard. And that's the confines of your mindset. And that's the confines of a lot of people's mindset. That's what it is. Who made them feel like that, though? It goes with this cultural, with the social engineering that I'm talking about. But I'm getting to the point. I haven't even made the most important point. 25 years of business never failed, right? Let me tell you something about my family. And I'm not bragging, right? My mother, I'm 50. My mother has been married to my father for 51 years. So my mother got pregnant at 20 years old, 21 and 22. Got 3 children. I got older sister, younger sister. I'm the boy in the middle. My mother has only been with my father. So now I know what my mind can do. I know what my mind can do when I'm not following something, and I know what my mind can do when I'm following something that's functional. I've seen it in my life as a child. But I see the value of a woman who chose one man, regardless of the challenges that she had, the struggles in life, really. I see what happens to the children and the grandchildren. I have a nephew. I swear to you, I am not lying. He has never made a B since he went to school. He is in the doctorate program at the University of South Carolina right now. The boy never made a B. I had my own sons. My youngest son taught himself to play all these instruments by watching Michael Jackson and looking at YouTube videos when he was 4 and 5 years old. The viola, the violin, the piano, the cello. I am bragging. I'm bragging. You can put me in front of any medical institution in the world or any academic institution in the world, and I will defeat them. I will make them look stupid. I be playing on the internet, bro. Like, for real. I be playing on YouTube. If I just, because I'm comfortable, I know my space, I know my rhythm. Y'all want me to be Mr. Academic? Oh, that's easy. But I'm only showing you that's just grace. I am thankful. We can all come from different challenges. I have never been touched by anyone. None of my sisters got touched. None of my nephews. I have 4 nephews. Both my sisters got 2 sons. I have 6 children. Nobody ever touched my children. One person tried. A relative literally tried to touch my child. On the mother's side of the family. I'm telling you it's possible. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's possible. It is possible. I was married before I had all of my children. My dad told me, look, bro, do not have a baby and you're not married. My dad is from the South. We're from South Carolina. You know what I said? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The man is telling me this over and over for a reason. Then I'm looking at people who didn't listen to their parents. And I'm saying, oh, this is the consequence of you not honoring wisdom. You suffer like a motherfucker. It's self-inflicted pain. Imagine the entire earth is suffering from self-inflicted wounds and just a lack of a little bit of knowledge. That's it. Ain't nobody got to be no goddamn Ivy League scholar to be successful in life. If you having problems choosing a woman, where are you choosing them from? The club? Where you met the woman at? You know where you're supposed to meet women at? Do you know where you're supposed to meet women at? Family events and community events. Now you're outside of the club, outside of known places, whatever. Maybe a library. Go to the places where smart people go, healthy-minded people grow. Where are you meeting them at? You met them at church? You met them at the mosque? Every Black American mosque is a place of slavery in the United States of America because they don't even know the history of the thing that they're in. You can only eventually fail. I'm sorry. This is how it works in this universe. We're not studying the past and waiting on the future. Everything is happening right now. The future is right now, and so is the past right now. That's what a person who is aware understands. So now by the time I want to go into somebody's pussy, why do I want to do that? Why don't I want to do that? Sometimes a woman will want to have sex with you. You have to tell her no. Is that hard for you, brother? Why is that hard for you? Not you. I'm not talking to you. I don't know you. I'm just talking rhetorically in the sense of why is it hard? Do you have that low level of confidence that anybody who's willing to give it to you, you'll take it? Just think about that principle. Would you do that with food? Would you do that by letting anybody into your house? What other thing do you do where you just take anything? Hell, you don't even want to take any kind of shoes or clothes, nigga. But you will take anybody nasty ass, funky, overused vagina where you don't know where it's been, you don't know nothing about it. You don't even have a test. What you need a test? You need a system. You need a system. It's way more fun when she's clean, bro. It's way better when she's clean. I'm laughing. How y'all get turned out by dumb ass retarded women? Like I need you to think about that. Like what's good about her? I don't care how many porn shows she watch. The energy is fucked up. The fact that you feel good in that shows what you are. It shows what you are. So now we're living with a whole world that's been made into absolute possessed entities, all trading their possessed energies. Then you popping up with HPV, fibroids, cysts, all kind of things, and you think it's not related to how you behave and how you live. Oh, it's not related. There's nothing wrong with how I live. That's okay. I'm just a warner. No one is exempt. And so the issue of sex is people don't know what it is. They're out of their divine creative power, so they don't know how to use it. They don't know what to do with it. You don't even know anatomy and physiology, so you don't know what you're touching or nothing. Don't know shit. Out here just a damn near a child in a grown body trying to accomplish Pornhub's greatest hits. Bro, that's crazy what y'all saying in this chat. It's crazy. It's crazy. But you know what? I ain't even gonna say nothing about it. I'm gonna let y'all be. But you could tell who is possessed. Possession might it has the appearance of pleasure, and then you have the drop. It's a high seesaw, up and down. Leads you right into depression. It should lead you into another enhanced lifestyle. This conversation has to be had a different way. I can see this conversation need to be had a whole different way. I'm the nigga that can have that conversation that way, though. I can't. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna spin the block on this conversation in about a month, and we're gonna have it a whole nother way. We need a panel though, because I need to fight the breakout. Because it's women walking around here think they got good pussy. And your pussy is only good to a soft ass nigga. I have to say this. This is now a new conversation that we have to have. And bro, you think you just beat it up. But she don't listen to you. All she do is temporary. And so y'all need to read the book. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you, you don't even know how good sex can actually feel. That's what I'm trying to tell you. As a grown man, I'm going to tell you, I was a college jock. I've lived multiple lifestyles. What I'm trying to tell you is you've never really had good sex. Here is the evidence of good sex, and I'm going to tell you. The evidence that the sex is good is two things. You're never going to leave. That's one, right? You're not going anywhere. And you never want to, because you cannot reproduce that experience anywhere. Let me put it like this to you, brother. And this is just to any man. If you have sex with a woman as in your divinity, she can never leave you. And if she tries, it will haunt her forever. That's it. And it grows. It's not a thing that deteriorates. If you getting bored with somebody, it's because you don't have the sauce in your life. You don't know how to manage a relationship. You don't know the real art and science of relationships. They could try anything they want to try. But that's where your code comes in at. If anybody can spin the block, you're not the guy you think you are. You're something else. You're not the guy who you think you are. You're something else. And that goes to the women too. This especially goes to the women. Men don't know that women live in their punani more than men live in their obelisk. Meaning many of them think that that's their way to get men. And I'm not saying that it's not the way, but it's not the way that they think is the way. It got to be activated. And so a part of the problem on the earth is you're not having really good sex. Not really. You're not. It's just not happening. And the men are not fit, meaning physically fit, right? I'm not talking about building up big muscles. I'm talking about your whole mind and nervous system. You're too stressed because you're not in creative zone and purpose. So you got to get in creative zone and purpose and vision in order to even have good sex with a woman, great sex with a woman, divine sex with a woman. You can't do it without that. It is not on. The world's idea of good sex is laughable. It is literally laughable. So add in culture, add in intelligence, add in whatever creativity, add in whatever you want to add in. Loyalty in relationships will never be the same because modern women thinking have destroyed it. That's true. It will never be the same. I agree with that. But it don't mean that yours don't have to be great. That's the point. The world is full of dysfunctional people. You can't save them. Stop stressing about them. You should be concerned about your relationship. And then if you can help someone with education, inspiration, guidance, advice, experience sharing, just do it. You will feel way better. Like right now, you might not have the person that you want, right? So now you have to put your plan together. You have to be the person that you love. You yourself. You have to be on point. You have to be on mission. You have to feel purposeful. What did you come here to do? You have to develop it. You don't find it, you work at it, you develop it year after year, day after day, plan after plan. And then what you start to see, you start to look in the mirror and say, damn, sis, damn, bro, I'm proud of you. Now you're in the energy. You have to be there. That's where you need to be to have a successful bond with another human being. Once you get there, you're going to start to understand how to move matter. And once you start moving matter, you're not going to be complaining about there's no women or there's no men. It's just you're going to stop doing that because that's not going to be your reality anymore. Your reality is shaped by your culture. It is shaped by the way that you think and the way that you behave. And if you do not have the right culture, you don't know how to think. Therefore, you don't know how to behave. Most people live in the world of effects. And when you live in the world of effects, you cannot have divine bonds with nobody. So I ain't about to talk all night because I'm hungry now. I'm ready to eat. I did not eat nothing all day. I hate coming on here and having eaten because my mind don't work the same way. But you need to get the book. You need to study. We're going to circle back on this conversation in a month, and I'm going to set up the alley-oop real nice. Because we got to have interaction. The interaction is the education. But this conversation is a very, very important. It is the most important conversation that you could ever have in life. We should be happy to brag about the decisions that we made to form relationships, form family, form lineage, form everything. And we should also be happy to talk about the mistakes that we made and how we'll never make them again. Get over it. Stop sitting in your defeat. Shit happens. It happens. It's okay. Get over it. Create a whole new reality, a new space, a new life for yourself. Stop sobbing in the world's defeat. There is a lot to take in. I don't be in here stressing about these stuff I write in this book. I write about it. I put it out for education so that people can defeat the lie. That's the goal. So simple. You got all the power now to defeat the lie. Externally and internally. Now you should be feeling great. So, power sex, y'all. We out.